I have no idea what this piece is this week, and I'm hoping you can help me find out more about it. It has no detail on the mold whatsoever, and I don't even know what to look up to find more information about it. Hello, my name is Shelby and I'm a potter. I found this bulk lot of slip casting molds, and one by one I'm pouring them up to reveal whatever is inside and then finish it into an artwork. This is the Mystery Mold series, so let's see what's in today's episode. This piece took a lot of clay, so it has a large volume inside. I poured it up and I let it set before tipping out the excess. So you leave it in there so that the plaster can pull out the moisture and build a shell on the outer surface. I let it set overnight and then it was time to finally open it up and reveal what is inside. So let's have a look. I am looking inside and I am feeling that it is maybe a shell vase. So this will be the second shell vase we've had in the lot. Can you see that? It's kind of rippled in the inside. It looks like a shell vase, I think. I think I'm going to be stuck making something I don't really want to make, but at the same time, I feel like it could be a fun challenge. Whoa! That's really interesting. That is not what I expected. It kind of is giving like an Art Deco vase, not a shell vase. That is really cool. I actually don't know what this is. Like looking at it, I feel like it is a vase of some description. It kind of almost looks like one of those ice cream containers where you go buy ice cream and then it's all like piled up in the ice cream container. But it's too pretty for that. I almost think that it's probably most likely a serviette holder, but could double as a really cool pretty vase or pot plant. But yeah, I actually don't know what this is. So if you know what this is, can you please let me know in the comments? I think it could look really amazing if all I did is just paint these all different color stripes and do a couple of different variations on the color stripes. But that's not super imaginative, but I feel like that's what's going to make this vessel come to life. I mean, there is potential that each stripe I could put its own little pattern on it, but then I think it will become too busy and you can't see the boldness of this shape. It is a weird vase thing. I don't know what to even look up to find information on this. So if you know much about this design or this era of design, can you please let me know in the comments? But I'm really excited to just paint this up and see how vibrant and bright it looks. Trimming this piece was actually super tricky because of that large sort of oval-like shape and that larger surface area. Trying to trim off the top rim whilst also supporting that longer side made it prone to warping, even though it might have been a lot firmer or softer the clay. No matter what stage, it was just really tricky to stop it from warping. You don't want it to warp at this stage because even if you bend it back, the clay can have a memory of where it's been, and I actually have an example of this at the end of the video because I had a warped finished piece. Here you can see the mold. It doesn't have any title on it. It doesn't have a name, a brand, a year, nothing. So I had no leads on what to look up for finding more information about this piece apart from what it actually looks like. I tried looking up serviette vase, I tried looking up shell vase, bubble vase, Art Deco vase. I tried so many different options and my search results came up dry. I pretty much hit a roadblock. Also hoping that one of you might be able to help find some more information about it. Hopefully pulling all our heads together, we can find out some more detail about what this piece was used for, whether there's more pieces of the collection, what the design was about, all of that kind of stuff. Because I just get so fascinated by all these different pieces and I don't think I've found anything quite like this piece before. For these pieces, I wanted to just do something quite simple this week. I could put a lovely pattern inside each of these columns. I'm going to call them columns, but I just thought it would look so powerful and really pay into the design and the shaping of this piece to just color each panel. So because they reminded me of these gelato style tubs, like with mountains of ice cream on them, I really wanted to make it look like ice cream colors on the side or gelato colors. So I got some strawberry, mango, lemon, and a few other colors that kind of remind me of like a lemonade or grape flavoring, and I just wanted to feel feel like a creamy sweet ice cream palette. I also made a couple of other vases and used them to try out a few other colorways. So I did one with blue greens to see what similar colors would look like on the piece. I did one with primary colors grouped together in a gradient, and then I had this brilliant idea to actually use one as a test tile vase. I just painted up a bunch of underglazes that are custom mixes that I've made that I don't actually have a test tile to compare it to. So that's what that vase's idea was about. Here's the thing about this week. I had this plan and I was thinking really logically about it and the steps on how I was going to achieve this, and I stuffed up. I totally forgot something so important as part of the process as to why I'm planning and thinking and why it wasn't going to work. I was thinking about the outside of this design and how amazing it would look with like a gloss in contrast to a matte glaze on the inside and on that bottom rim of the vase. You guys all request glazes that are matte so much, and I really struggled to find them in Australia. And although I wish I had time to work on my own glaze recipe for the matte glazes and formulate and experiment with that, I just don't have the time. I did find a matte glaze brand that fires lower than my kiln temperature. Now I have put off buying this, but I thought I would finally just do it. The thing is, because my kiln goes hotter than the temp of this matte glaze, I plan to finish the piece like I have here and then glaze it again, but at a lower temp to suit the matte glaze. That way I wouldn't have the matte glaze melting in the main firing and causing a mess, and I could have my piece vitrified and the glaze cured properly. So I went ahead with my plan. I glazed it, made a mess because I filled my bucket up too much, as you saw before. I got them into the kiln, and my first mistake was that I forgot. I was meant to leave the base of the vase unglazed to attach the matte glaze to. Good, I forgot, because the whole point of the vitrification process is in the kiln, it makes the piece impervious to water, so unable to absorb water. That is the whole point of the firing. Do you know what glaze needs to actually be able to attach the piece? It needs to be able to penetrate the clay, and I am so silly. So by vitrifying the clay first, I made it really difficult for the glaze to actually attach to the piece, and I didn't even realize. So I poured the glaze in and it did nothing. A little bit of color was staying in parts, but I would have to let it air dry and completely evaporate it rather than absorbing into the clay body to make it work. Even then, I don't know if it would. So after trying to figure out how to not melt the matte glaze, we are going glazeless because the piece is now vitrified and I cannot go back from this point. I can't add glaze to the center because it just won't absorb, it won't hold. Like, it will eventually, but it's going to take a really long time and it's really tricky to do. My second mistake was I was trying to clean the glaze off and I dropped the piece because it was so curvy and slippery, and I just let go. It was very loud and very rude, and I put a crack and a chip in the piece, and I was literally so mad at myself. But anyway, you live and you learn. I stuffed up this week, and I just wanted to share that with you. And I will have to talk about the vitrification process in another video about why the glaze wouldn't stick and a bit more detail about why vitrification is important, because I get a bit nerdy about that. But yeah, I stuffed up. I would love still to see these pieces with the matte glaze, and there is another option that I do add the matte glaze for the initial glaze firing and just see how it turns out, because sometimes you might fire them a bit hotter but they don't actually melt and fall apart like you think they will. Sometimes their colors just aren't as vibrant, or they don't do exactly what you want them to do. Just interrupting myself to let you know that this is the test tile piece, and this is the piece I talked about at the start of the video saying it had warped. So you can see here that curvy long length has gone in and has maintained its shape from trimming. A bit of a bummer, but it still looks cool. Let's talk about the finished results, because despite stuffing up, these are still very impactful and very powerful pieces. I am really in love with these, and I know they aren't as detailed and not the most creative and illustrative idea to just color the strips in, but gosh, it brings this piece to life in particular. It really highlights the aesthetic and the curvature of the piece, which I really admire. And I must say, I love the gloss glaze on these because the reflection of the light really highlights the curvy goodness of each of those columns. They did take a long time to get such a clean line between each of those columns, which was a bit annoying for how minimal the design work is. Like, you could spend the same time painting a really illustrative signature piece of your work, but I did find it really fun to fill in the colors colors, and it's just another piece where you could put the ugliest color combinations together and it would just look so cool. Even some gold columns would look amazing too, but the whole point of this week was I was trying to do this really cool matte versus gloss glaze effect, but anyway, it's fine. I really like that they're very different to my style, but it was another week where I got to explore and have a bit of fun with shapes that I wouldn't usually use in my own work. I would love to know what you think of this piece, whether it's your style, whether you have some cool groovy ideas on how you would use it, and especially would like to know if you've seen this piece and know any information about it. So please do let me know in the comments. I would like to say thank you so much for watching another video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more if you like this content, and here is a sneak peek for next week's video.